Okay, I will start today's session. Steps in planning is the last topic in module 1. Okay, so with planning also it involves various steps. First step is establishing verifiable goals or set of goals to be. In order to start any business or for any organization, there are goals. The goal may be to produce a product or to provide a service so that company can earn profit. Okay, or it can build a brand image by providing good service or by delivering a good quality product. Okay, so they are the goals. Goal may be to manufacture a product at least cost. That might be a goal of some company, or the goal may be to manufacture a product having very good quality. So where the focus is on, some companies focus on quality, some companies focus on cost while compromising with quality of the product. Okay, so that will be defined by the objectives of the organization or goals of the organization. They will define their goals such that on which aspects they have to concentrate. Okay, that is the first step, establishing verifiable goals or set of goals to be achieved. If there are no goals, then there will be a lot of confusion and people in the organization don't know why they are working, why they are doing a particular task. Okay, so this goal will result in clarity in the organization, what we are doing and why we are doing, and what are the consequences. Everything will be clear if there are predefined goals for a company or organization. Okay, so that's why in planning, establishing these goals is the first step. Second, establishing planning premises. Okay, so this is another very important step. By considering the factors inside the organization and outside the organization, company has to establish the planning premises. That means what are the factors that will affect the planning. Okay, as the name itself indicate, planning means it is about future. We don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, we don't know. Okay, but then also we are going to anticipate some things. We assume that these things will happen in future. Okay, this we can expect this after 1 year, after 6 months, like that. Based on our anticipation, we are going to do planning. But most of the times it may not happen according to our wish. Okay, so there are many factors which will result in deviations in what we expect and what actually happen. Okay, so that is planning premises. What are the factors that will affect the actual way in which a plan need to be executed. Okay, so what are the causes of deviation that will be defined by the planning premises. Okay, these are assumptions about the future on the basis of which the plan will be ultimately formulated. Again, planning is nothing but it is about tomorrow. We need to do, what is going to happen, what are the consequences, okay, or what are the upcoming problems. Okay, all these things need to be anticipated. So in order to anticipate, you have to assume tomorrow this will happen, that will happen. Okay, after 6 months this may happen. Okay, the market may behave like this, political decisions may be like this. Okay, so these are the things involved in planning. Okay, so these are some of the planning premises. Is all about assuming what is going to happen in future. Planning premises are vital to the success of planning as they supply pertinent facts and information relating to the future, such as population trends, the general economic conditions, production costs and prices, probable competitive behavior, capital and material availability, governmental control, and so on. Okay, these are some of the aspects involved in planning premises. Okay, so planning premises are vital to the success of planning as they supply pertinent facts and information relating to the future, such as population trends. Okay, India is one of the most populated nation. Okay, you can consider population growth in two aspects. Okay, if you consider population growth in the point of view of a company which is producing physical products, okay, whether it is a positive thing for a company or negative thing for a company, population growth. Okay, what is your opinion? Whether population growth is a factor for a manufacturing company or is it a negative factor for a manufacturing company? Hmm? You can type your answer or you can orally also you can answer for this question. Okay. You can answer. Okay, positive. Pramod, why it is a positive factor for a manufacturing company?
So capital ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
Okay, so it will increase the customer base. Okay, you know, most of the MNCs have their plants or have their market in India. The reason is India is a vast consumer base, so it is having population more than 130 crores. Okay, population means it is also consumers. Okay, so if the number of people in a country are more, if the population is high, okay, so then the consumer base also will be more. Okay, suppose in 5 years if the population growth increase from 130 crore to 145 crore, then that may result in increase in consumer base for a particular product. Like if you consider products like soaps, toothbrush, paste. Okay, if the number of if the population increases, obviously, okay, consumer base also will increase for these products. Okay, that is one way of looking at the population growth. That means what will be the population after 1 year, after 3 years, after 5 years. Okay, so this is also another factor. And there is another relation between population and the manufacturing or any other companies. Okay, most of the MNCs they preferred India because of two reasons. Earlier they preferred India because of cheap labor. Okay, it may be software engineers or any other labor. Okay, so compared to European countries or compared to the similar human resource in USA. Okay, so you can hire people in India for very less salary comparatively. Okay, so that is one of the reason which attracts most of the MNCs to invest in India till a few years. Okay, now the trend has changed. Okay, so instead of shifting to India, they are concentrating on some other countries like Bangladesh, Indonesia, Vietnam. Okay, because of many reasons. So now what we realized is a population trend may have a positive impact also, because it will result in increase in consumer base. But if there is only if there is increase in population and if there is no increase in purchasing power of people, then that is a problem. Okay, people should have money also. Simply if people doesn't have money to buy products, then population doesn't results in increase in consumer base. Okay, so there must be a trend such that there will be increase in population every year. Okay, that is one thing. At the same time, people also must have money to buy products. Both are important. Okay, next the general economic conditions. Again, as we discussed, money in the hands of people is very important to get demand for the product. If people don't have money, even though they may have need, okay, they will not buy any product. Okay, that's why economic conditions also play a vital role. Next, production costs and prices. Okay, so this is very important. Now we are living in a globalized world. Okay, there is challenge in front of all most of the service and manufacturing companies. They have to produce products at least cost. Okay, so in order to being successful in the global market, companies must work hard, focus on coming up with new products which cost less but the quality is good. Okay, so that is the current trend. Okay, so there is a global competition. Company in Bangalore has to compete with company in USA or in Europe. Okay, so that's why there is a competitive behavior in the market. Okay, and again that will affect cost and prices. If you are not able to produce a product at least cost, then the problem is instead of buying your product, consumers will buy the product which costs less and which can have better quality. Okay, that's why producing a product at very less cost is very important. Okay, so next, probable competitive behavior. We know we have to compete with the world, since it is a globalized. We are living in a globalized world. Competition is global. Okay. Capital and material availability. Capital means if you want to start a new business, most of the times you don't have enough money to start a business or start a company. Then what you are going to do? You will go for arranging for this money. That is the capital. Okay, capital is nothing but money required to start any business. You may get capital in terms of loan from banks or any financial firms. Okay, or you can go to share market, and by selling shares also you can get the capital, or you can take money from your parents or from your relatives, friends. Okay, there are many ways in which you can arrange for this capital. Okay, and again capital from what is the support from the government or institutions which comes under government, like banks. So that also companies will look into. Okay, how easily we can get loan from bank if you want to start a business. Okay, that also play an important role. And material availability, raw material availability. Jindal company is situated in Ballari. The reason is, okay, so iron ore is easily available. Our raw material for that company is available in that location. Okay, that is also another thing. Otherwise, what we have to do, you have to import material from some other location, and again there will be transportation cost will be added to your added to the product. Okay, so that's why you have to look at the availability of raw materials required for the product. Next, governmental control and other factors. Again, the policies of government. Okay, and that also play a very important role, like policies like implementation of GST, taxation. Okay, and again political stability. All these are and again policies of the government, whether they are stable or they change after 6 months, 1 year, or there random changes in policies. So all these factors will be considered by any businessman or any investor. Okay, so if all these things look good, then only people will invest in any country or in any system. Okay, so if you are planning to start your own business, if you are in a management of a company, while planning, you have to consider all these things. Okay, only technical knowledge doesn't work in at management level. You should have knowledge of economics, knowledge of society, knowledge of political environment. Okay, and the knowledge of who is ruling you. Okay, how they are taking decisions, and even knowledge of global economics is very important. Okay, while planning. Next, again, planning premises it can be classified into these three groups: internal and external premises. That means factors inside the company and factors outside the company. Next, tangible and intangible premises. So tangible means which can be directly converted into a number, quantifiable. Okay, so intangible means these are the factors which cannot be directly converted into numbers. That is intangible premises. Next, controllable and non-controllable premises. Controllable means these are under the control of a company, under the control of the management. Non-controllable means they are not under the control of the company. Okay, we are going to discuss about this in detail. First, internal and external premises. Internal premises include sales forecast. Okay, that means during the current year, that is during 2020. Okay, how much what quantity of products we can sell, that is the sales forecast. Or during next year, during 2021, okay, how many cars we can sell, how many television sets we can sell, how many two-wheelers we can sell, that is the sales forecast. This will be done by sales and marketing department of a company. Okay, so that is inside the company. That's why it is an internal premises. Then policies and programs of the organization. Since these are the policies and these are the plans of the organization, again these are internal. Okay, next, capital investment in plant and equipment. That means suppose if they want to buy a new machine, or if they want to start a new plant, again that decision is taken by the company itself. Next, competence of management. This is the strength of the management. This is about strength of the management of the company. Then skill of the labor force in the company. Then other resources and abilities of the organization in the form of machines, money, and methods or technologies available with them. And beliefs, behavior, and values of the owners and employees of the organization. So internal premises is all about inside the company. Okay, all these factors are within the control of the organization. Okay, external premises may be classified in three groups. These are not in the control of the company or organization. Business environment, factors which influence the demand for the products of the enterprise, and the factors which affect the resources available to the enterprise. Again, we know because of the current economic situation in India, investors are worried about lack of demand in the market. That means the purchasing power of people has fallen. Okay, because of that, for most of the products, there is no demand in the market. Okay, so this is because of this is not because of the company. This is because of the external factor. That means this is because of the economic policies of the government. This is because of the corona pandemic. This is because of the lockdown. Okay, so all these things are not related to the company. Company has not taken a decision to go for lockdown. It is a decision by the government. Again, corona is not the problem from the company. Okay, it is because of other reasons. So that means these are the external premises which are not in control of the company. Okay, so demand for the products, and then factors which affect the resources available to the enterprise. Again, you can consider the some of the manufacturing companies which depends on Chinese companies. Okay, so if they are procuring or if they are importing some of the components or parts from China, okay, because of the political reasons, because of the restrictions imposed by government, they may not be able to import these parts. Okay, that is again that is not in the control of the company. Because of the decision of the government, company is having an impact. Okay, so these are the external premises. External premises may include the following: general business and economic environment. That means general business and economic environment means policies of the government, then the purchasing power of the people. Okay, so this comes under. Then technological changes. Okay, change in technology. So the technology of today in six months or in 1 year, that may be an outdated technology. Okay, so that also you should anticipate. Government policies and regulations. Population growth, as we discussed. Okay, if there is increase in population, that may have positive impact. That may result in increase in consumer base. Next, political stability is also very important. Political stability is not only about stability of any government. Okay, it is also about stability of the decisions taken by a political system. Okay, so that is also very important. The stability in the decision making process. Okay, if policymakers focus on winning election and okay, changing policies randomly, then that will affect the confidence of the investors. Next, sociological factors. Again, as a society, how we think, how we behave, okay, whether our thoughts or our ethics are good, okay, or whether we respect law and order, or we involve in violence. Okay, these are sociological factors. If there is peace, if there is law and order in the society, then only investors will come and invest. Okay, then only if you are planning, okay, then your plan will work. Okay, if the general business and economic environment is good, if technological changes are less or it is changing at a slower pace, then if government policies and regulations are pro market or pro corporate world, okay, or pro business, okay, then if there is population growth and if there is political stability, then there is more possibility that things will go according to your plan. Okay, otherwise there will be deviation because of these reasons. And again, demand for industry's product. Now there is lack of demand for most of the industrial products. Okay, so in order to understand the problems related to this external premises in India, okay, now why we are facing problems like unemployment and negative GDP, okay, and problem with decline in growth of our economy. You can watch this video. This is an interview of Kaushik Basu. He was the former chief economist at World Bank. Okay, you can watch this interview. Later, I will share this link. You can watch if you are interested. You can understand what are the things which went wrong. Okay, and what are the problems with our current system. Okay, and again at the same time, Bangladesh is doing better in many ways compared to India, and it is getting lot of investment from other countries. Okay, investors are focusing on Bangladesh rather than on India. Okay, so that you can understand with this video what are the plans made by Bangladesh which attracts investors, which attracts MNCs, and what is happening in Bangladesh. Okay, that is also a lesson for us also. This two I will share later. Okay, next tangible and intangible premises. Okay, so tangible means directly quantifiable, intangible means you cannot directly convert it into number. Okay, tangible premises are those which can be quantitatively measured in terms of numbers. Population growth you can measure. You can say what is the population of India? You can say 136 crore or 137 crore. Okay, you can measure it in terms of numbers. Again, industry demand you can measure in terms of percentage. Okay, or you can measure in terms of quantity. Okay, there is demand for 1000 cars. Okay, there is demand for 50,000 bikes. Like that, you can convert a demand into a number. Okay, capital and resources invested. Again, it is about money. You can say 20 crores or 30 crores, 500 crores. Okay, these are the measurable things, quantifiable. Intangible premises are those which, being qualitative in character, cannot be so measured. So example, political stability. Okay, you cannot say political stability 1, 2, 3, 4. You cannot measure like that. Okay, so it is a non-quantifiable one. Then sociological factors, business and economic environment. You can say it is good, bad. Okay, so but you cannot say in terms of number 1, 2, 3, 4. You cannot say. Attitudes, philosophies, and behavior of the owners of the organization. Okay, these are related to intangible premises. These you cannot say in numbers. Okay, next controllable and non-controllable premises. Controllable means, again, as we discussed earlier, these are within the control of the organization. Non-controllable, these are not in control of the organization. Examples of uncontrollable factors are strikes, wars, natural calamities, emergency, legislation. Okay, we know if some strike is happening in the society. Okay, like farmer strike, laborers protesting against labor laws. Okay, these are not in the control of the company. Okay, like again, war. Again, we know in the world there is tension in some of the countries. You know, if you read newspapers or if you watch proper news channels, you will know what is happening around the world. Okay, so there are law and order problems. There are tensions between various nations in the world. Okay, again, that is also not in control of you. If third world war will happen, again that will be having an impact on industries or organizations that you cannot, that is not in the control of any company. Okay, next, natural calamities like earthquake or the flood. Okay, so then also that will affect the planning of the company. You may have planned to sell 5,000 cars in next year. Yeah, because of earthquake or because of floods. Okay, people may not be in a situation to buy cars because they lost all their property, money in floods or earthquakes. How can they buy your product? Okay, so like this, these have also having an impact. Then emergency legislation. This is about policy making. Legislation is nothing but policy making. Okay, emergency again. It is. It may be any type of emergency. It may be political emergency. It may be economic emergency. It may be health emergency. That will also having an impact on organization. Controllable factors are those which can be controlled and normally cannot upset well thought out calculations of the organization regarding the plan. So these are, since these are controllable. Okay, so company, if it regulate properly, then plan will work as it is. Okay, so that is the controllable factor. Examples of controllable factors are the company's advertising policy, competence of management members, skill of the labor force, availability of resources in terms of capital and labor, attitude and behavior of the owners of the organization. Okay, recently if you follow news, okay, some companies have come up with a new policy that we don't advertise for news channels, okay, which broadcast fake news, okay, which create communal tension. We don't advertise. So these policies, like companies like Bajaj, Parle-G, okay, they took a decision not to advertise in some news channels which involve themselves in creating communal tension. Okay, so that is the policy of the Bajaj company, policy of Parle-G. Okay, so like that companies will decide to take a particular stand considering what is happening around them. Okay, next, deciding the planning period. This is also very important. Okay, so for how many years I can plan, whether I can plan for 6 months, whether I can plan for 1 year, I can plan for 5 years. This also company has to decide. It is based on understanding of what is going to happen in future. Okay, if a company is confident that it can anticipate what is going to happen in 5 years, it can plan for 5 years. Okay, if the company is able to anticipate only for 5 months, it has to plan for 5 months. Okay, deciding the planning period is about understanding of what is going to happen or predicting what is going to happen in future. Companies generally base their period on a future that can reasonably be anticipated. Other factors which influence the choice of a period are lead time in development and commercialization of a new product. Okay, lead time is a very familiar term for mechanical engineers. Okay, being a mechanical engineer, always you should remember the meaning of lead time. Okay, what do you mean by lead time? What do you mean by lead time? Lead time andrena? I think you heard about manufacturing lead time. What is the meaning of manufacturing lead time? Really? What do you mean by manufacturing lead time? Ningraju? Ningaraju NB. Naveen? Okay, if you don't answer, I will consider that you have logged in and you are not listening to lecture. Okay, what do you mean by lead time? Okay, time required to complete the product. Okay, any other answer? Nitin TR. Pallavi.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by lead time? Okay, so lead time is the you can consider it in different ways. Okay, manufacturing lead time means it is the time taken to convert raw material into finished product, or it is the time elapsed between converting raw material into finished product. Time from raw material to finished product. Okay, that is the manufacturing lead time. So lead time in development and commercialization of a new product. Why you have to consider this lead time is market situation will change. Okay, suppose you might have a plan to come up with a new product. Now you should know, okay, what is the time required to produce a particular product. If it consumes 6 months, then you should plan or you should anticipate what is the market condition after 6 months. Suppose if the lead time for the product is 1 week, then if you are able to produce 100 units of a product, then you have to think, okay, after 1 week, am I able to sell these 100 units of a product? Okay, it is easy to anticipate 1 week compared to anticipating 1 year. You don't know what is going to happen or what is the market situation after 1 year. It is very difficult to predict. But it is easy, comparatively, it is easy to predict the market situation after 1 week. Okay, there will be not much differences when the time period is less. Okay, that's why if you have less lead time, it is an added advantage. Okay, that's why companies will calculate the lead time. Okay, so it is time elapsed between raw material and finished product, or between raw material and product ready to sell. Okay, next, time required to recover capital investments or the payback period. Suppose for starting a new business, if the company is investing 5 crores, next it has to calculate the payback period. Payback period means what is the time required to get back the investment. Okay, if it has invested 5 crore, how much is required to take this 5 crore back? Okay, so that is the payback period. This also should be calculated. Then length of commitments already made. Okay, some companies will made a commitment, like you can consider the nano product of Tata company. Okay, so the company made a promise that few years back. Okay, they made a commitment to the society that we will come up with a car which costs 1 lakh. Okay, that was a commitment made by the company. Then since they made it as a commitment, they have to sell a car at 1 lakh. Okay, so like that, even if you can consider suppose an engineering college. Okay, once if it take admissions, then it has to make a commitment that the college will not be closed for 4 years, since 4 years is required to complete your graduation. If you take admission this year and if the college closes next year, then you know the problem. Like that, every organization is going to make some commitments. So that means if it commit once, whether it is in loss or profit, it has to work for a particular duration. Okay, so that's why deciding the planning period is also very important. Next, finding alternative courses of action. Okay, we know, because planning is all about predicting or anticipating what is going to happen in future. Most of the times things may not happen according to plans. then you have to think about alternative courses of action. Okay, if this does not happen, okay, what is the other option? Like that, companies or management people have to plan finding alternative course of action. Suppose if a company, if a automotive company or if a bike two-wheeler manufacturing company is procuring some parts from China. Okay, so because of the government policy, the government restricts import from China, then company has to plan from where we can get the parts. Okay, that is the alternative courses of action. Evaluating and selecting a course of action. Again, whenever you go for alternative, there are many options available. Next, you have to evaluate and you have to select suitable course of action. Okay, this is done with the help of quantitative techniques and operations research. That means this is based on mathematical models. Okay, if you want to get some components from other companies, if you are a car manufacturing company and if you are purchasing some of the components, then you are going to evaluate by considering cost, then by considering quality. Okay, so there are many things which need to be considered, and you may also consider the time. Okay, so how quickly they can deliver the components to you. Next, developing derivative plans. Derivative plans means these are the plans derived from plan made by top management. Okay, derivative plans usually these are the plans made by middle level managers or first line managers. Okay, based on the plans of top level management. Okay, once the plan for the organization has been formulated, middle and lower level managers must draw up the appropriate plans for the subunits. These are called derivative plans. Okay, if you consider MCE, okay, so college will frame the there will be a plan, okay, like syllabus during four years, 8 semesters. Then this much courses need to be studied, this much credits every student must have. Okay, so to successfully complete graduation, that is the plan made by the university or by the college. Then based on that, based on the number of credits required to get degree, then departments will make a plan, okay, regarding which courses students have to study, okay, how many laboratory courses, how many theory courses. Okay, they are the derivative plans based on the framework from the university or from the college. Departments, mechanical department, E&C, E&D, like that, they are department level, they will also plan. Okay, so by considering the framework or the major plan or the actual plan of the university or college, so they will do planning. So like that in any organization, based on the plan of the top management. Okay, in order to again, this is in line with the plan of the organization. Okay, in order to implement that plan, again sub plans may be required. So these sub plans are called as derivative plans. Why these are called derivative means, again there is no much flexibility in derivative plans. Okay, this should be according to the major plan of the organization. Next, establishing and deploying action plans. Again, action plans are nothing but it is about the procedure for implementation of a plan. Okay, this is in detail. Action plans are nothing but planning in detail. The action plan identifies particular activities necessary for executing derivative plans and specifies the who, what, when, where and how of each action. Again, if you consider the example of college, okay, handle which course, okay, who is going to handle a particular course, and then what are the topics involved. Okay, how many classes need to be conducted, when CAE should be conducted, how it should be conducted. Okay, these are the action plans. Like that for any organization, if they are producing a product, who has to design. Okay, so when the design should be delivered, when manufacturing should be started, in what quantity. Okay, so when it should be delivered. These are the things involved in action plans. Next, measuring and controlling the progress. So this is the last step in planning. Managers need to check the progress of their plans so that they can take whatever remedial action is necessary to make the plan work, or change the original plan if it is unrealistic. Okay, so this is the last step in planning process. Okay, so this completes first module. This is another sample question. Okay, discuss the planning premises you would have as a manufacturer of any one of the organization, like cement, sugar, car, mobile phone, laptop, fasteners, means nut, bolts, washers. Okay, so since you have already written C1, I think you are aware of how you need to